Hello beautiful people, I'm glad to have you here as always. Today we are making some yummy meat pie. This is a rich pie and very easy to make. I hope you will give it a try. So let's zoom in. These are the ingredients that we'll be using for our pie. For the pie crust, we'll need flour, butter and a little bit of water. For the filling for our crust, we'll need carrots, onion, bell pepper. We'll as well need potatoes, some grated onion, garlic and ginger, cornstarch, mixed spices, salt, and our meat, which we are going to mince. If you don't have a minced meat, you can use your boneless meat to achieve that. If you have a minced meat, then you are good to go. To save ourselves some time, I prepped these ingredients off camera. So kindly check the ingredient list in the caption below. Thank you. So now let's zoom into the process. I began with the meat. So because the meat was not minced, I had to break them down by mincing, and I used my blender to achieve this. So I minced the meat. Please use boneless meat, okay, without cartilages if possible. The meat is all minced now. I pour the meat into the pot. I then followed with the salt, spice mix, grated ginger, garlic and onion to serve as my marinades. Because these were grated, there were no juice in it, so I added a little water to enable the boiling process. So I then set it on fire. If you want more juicy meat, you can put the marinated meat in your fridge for some minutes, like 30 to an hour before you begin the cooking. I had limited time, so I headed up straight to cooking it. Please cook on low heat and be checking on it intermittently so it doesn't get burnt, okay? So it's been on fire for about 20 minutes now. So I'm giving it a quick stir and will allow the process to continue. Thank you all for your love and support to this channel. I really appreciate. So in about 5 minutes, we are back to check on our meat again, and it's time for the other ingredients to go down. So I added the onion and then the carrots since they are a bit hard, okay, for them to be a bit tender. Then we continue with the process. I give it a quick stir. Now I add a little more water and then cover the pot for it to simmer. Then we'll check up on it again in about 5 minutes. Now we are checking on our pot again, and it's time for the bell pepper to follow. Kindly note that earlier I used a part of the onions, the diced onions, not all, okay? We left some for the final part for it to give us some flavor. Right after adding the bell pepper, I am following up with a thickener because the bell pepper can become tender quickly and it will be mushy. We don't want it that way. In adding the thickener, you can add the cornstarch directly into the pot, or you can make a paste from it. But when you do the powder approach, you will need to stir rigorously, else it can become lumpy. So you realize that I added the powder. I stirred very well to ensure it was all well mixed, and then I left a part, added water to it, made a paste from it, and I added it again to the pot. So I did both approaches in this episode. Now with our sauce taken up, we add the cooked potatoes and then the last part of the onion. We give it a quick stir, allow it to simmer for like 2 minutes, then we are good to go. Our sauce or filling is ready to go off fire. So it's now time to work on our pie crust. For the pie crust, I'm using flour, butter and a little bit of water. So for the flour options, you can use all-purpose pastry flour or salt flour. I have the ingredients list in the caption, so please check. So we start off by mixing the flour and then the butter till we realize that all the flour is covered. Okay, there is no flour left uncovered without butter, and then they are well mixed. Okay, as you can see now, the color of the flour is changing from white to a bit yellowish. It's taking on the color of the butter. This means that it's being well mixed. Okay, so once all the flour has been properly mixed, it's time for us to then start adding the water. We start off by sprinkling the water. Preferably, I advise you use cold water. It would help. Okay, I'm having 1 cup of water here, but I'm not going to use the entire cup of water. I'll use gradually till I get the texture or the consistency that I want to achieve. The pie crust is quite different from the normal dough that we have. If you add more water, you might end up getting a stretchy dough like that of a bread. That's not what we are looking out for. So we are not going to add too much water, just a little goes a long way, because we don't want it to be so soft, and we also don't want it to be separating. We just want to be able to form a ball out of the flour. Okay, we just want to be able to mold it so it can make the cutting easier, but not too much water. So just sprinkle the water, and as and when you realize it's taking shape, you tone down on the water. So as you can see, we are almost there. It's forming very well. I realized that the water content in it is okay. I just have to make the ball or ensure it's well mixed. So here I'm forming the first ball. Okay, then I'll put it aside and then concentrate on the remaining flour. So I form another ball from this. So this part need a bit more water, so I added just a little water. I sprinkle, and then I made a ball from it, and then we are good to continue. Now with our crust ready, it needs to sit in the fridge for about 30 minutes to 1 hour. This would help our batter to firm up. Secondly, it will help the flour to reach its full hydration, and it will impact on the texture and then the overall taste of the pie. It's been about 30 minutes now, and it's now time for us to mold our pie into a desired shape. No fancy equipment. I'm using the lid of my blender to shape this pie. So I get my rolling pin with my surface cleaned. I go ahead to roll the crust into the desired shape so I can then cut using my blender lid. Please ensure that your surface is thoroughly cleaned, because whatever germs you have on your surface will end up in the pie and it wouldn't help. Okay, so roll to ensure all the sizes are equal, evenly rolled. Then you get the lid or whatever kitchen tool you are using to make the cut. Put it on the rolled surface and apply pressure, and take the edges all around off, and then you get your desired shape. So this process will continue till we are done molding all the crust and getting our desired shape for the filling to continue. As you cut, please get a plate or another surface, a clean surface, and place them on. Okay, so we are all done. We'll continue with the next process. Now we have our filling ready. We are going to put our filling into the pie crust that we molded. One tip: kindly cut the crust when it's thick, so because we'll be spreading or we'll be rolling again to spread it. If you cut when it's thin, when you roll it out, it should be thinner. Okay, so with a crust rolled out, we'll scoop about a tablespoon of the filling, put it on the crust, and then we will dip our hands in water, get water by the side, apply around the edges of the crust, roll it over, and use our hands to close it up. You can also use a fork to achieve same. Okay, then we are done. Now we'll need to place the pie on our baking sheet. So as you can see, I have my baking sheet here. I've lined it with a baking paper so that the pie will not stick to the pan. Okay, and then the process will continue. Also, be generous with your filling. Scoop more, but spread the pie in a way that it will not be spilling. Okay, it wouldn't spill, there will not be spillage. So you scoop more, you put it in, you cover. Okay, if there are spillage, you clean around. Now we are almost through with the rolling and filling of our pie. So as you can see, I've laid it all on the baking sheets. Okay, ready to go into the oven. So now we are going to brush our pie with milk and egg so that we will have the golden look when the pie is done. So I have here milk. Okay, I have milk and I poured in the egg, the white parts of the egg without the yolk. Before we go ahead and then apply the brush on the pie, we'll need to poke holes into the pie. I'm using a fork to achieve this. You can do 2 to 3 holes. Why are we doing this? Our pie needs to breathe. We don't want our pie to burst, okay, because there will be more like an inbuilt pressure in the pie as it bakes. So to make a way for it to come out, we will need to make these holes. Now I'm brushing the pie with the egg and milk mixture. Okay, so we are making the pie ready to be going into the oven very soon. So when we are done, it goes straight into the oven. At this point, it's necessary you would have your oven on preheating. I will indicate the temperature at which I baked this in the caption. Please check. So we baked this and ta-da, this is the final outcome. It turned out so well. So let's check it out. As you can see, it's juicy. I bet you this was yummy and it was so rich. I believe you would want to give it a try to testify of this goodness. I remember that night we had some islanders visiting us and we had dinner together, and I remember one particular person was resisting even tasting it, but when he did, oh, I bet you he ate till the last bit. It's always a privilege coming your way with these videos. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your support to this channel. Don't forget to like and share this video with others till we meet again in our next video. Bye.